Hi everyone, it's Pam from Dobie Wellness. Just checking in with you again today. Wanted to talk about habits and neural pathways. So habits, hard things to break. They are because of the neural pathways that are created through them. So a neural pathway, what is that? Neural pathways are um, pathways in our brain system, in our neurobiology, that are created through repetitive actions or repetitive thinking, something we've done enough that we've made kind of a link from A to B. And that link could be your habit that you do every morning when you get up. What do you do when you get out of bed? You wake up, do you play on your phone, or do you get up right away and go brush your teeth, or do you make your coffee and come back and brush your teeth? Those habitual behaviors create habits, which are also part of the neural pathways that are in our systems of what we do. So our thinking can contribute to these neural pathways. So if we have a tendency to think the sky is falling, no matter what happens, we have kind of created this neural pathway to default to that thinking. If we have a tendency to think, oh, everything's going to be fine, we've created a neural pathway to default in that way. So habits, neural pathways, these are all created over time and take some time to undo. So a lot of the work with affirmations is a way to repattern certain kinds of thinking and beliefs that have become sort of embedded as a neural pathway or a habit. So working with these affirmations helps us to kind of scramble it and make the neural pathway not such a default, but kind of, if you think of a groove of a river, and if the water keeps coming down the river, it comes down the side of a mountain enough, it creates a groove for this water, and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper because it's come down that path a lot. If it's the first time it's come down that path, maybe it doesn't even, do much but flatten some grass or something. But the more it comes down, the more it makes its mark and makes a groove, and it becomes easier to come down that path. So that's a neural pathway. It becomes easier and easier to kind of make that go down that path or create that link or default to that thought or behavior. So, how do we undo some of these? First is becoming aware of them. What are these automatic things we think about? What are these patterns that we have, habits that we have? And a quick one to think about is like exercise. For some people, it's I exercise every day at 5:30 in the morning before I leave the house, or I exercise every day after work, and this is what I do when I exercise. It becomes part of your nature, what you're doing, and it creates a neural pathway. Same with how we think. If it's like, oh, if I don't get this done on time, blah blah blah, negative negative, or if I don't get this done on time, I'll pick it up again tomorrow. So we have these little grooves that get deeper and deeper when we default to it. So worry can create a neural pathway. Fear and worry kind of go together, but worry is that sort of rumination of making it feel like we're accomplishing something, but we're not really, but we're worrying. So maybe we're planning in that worrying, or feeling like we're taking charge of it when we're really not. So how do we work with this? We do something instead. We recognize when we're going down that path to that neuropathic, that default into a certain type of thinking or a behavior. If we have a snap judgment or a snap reaction to a situation, we recognize that it's happening and then choose to behave differently. So it takes a little while to start recognizing what's going on, and then we choose to behave differently. I'm having all this hilarious time because today I decided to film outside, and for whatever reason, the whole world, well, I know why the whole world's out. Story for another era. Whole world's out. Our world's out. Anyway, so these neural pathways, if you recognize what it is that you do and how you do it, so snap judgment, or snap thinking or automatic reaction, recognize that it's happening, stop yourself in the moment and say, ooh, okay, become curious about it. What just happened? Like, what exactly just went on? What's the reality of the situation? And what was my reaction? Sometimes we can look back and figure out that the reaction came from childhood. a pattern we had, a default mechanism we had in place. But the idea is we don't always even have to go back there to figure it out. We just need to recognize that we're doing it and come up with a different plan for the next time. And catch ourselves in the moment and go, "Ooh, I'm doing it." Back it up and say, "All right, what am I going to do instead? Am I going to just take a time out? Am I going to choose a different behavior, a different thought, and put that in place instead?" And then the more you do that, the less deep that old neural pathway gets, and we create a new one into like a new habit. So, it's a mindset thing, it's a habit thing, but there we do have the control over it. So Louise Hay's amazing. Her work was fantastic with working with affirmations. It's the same kind of thing. It's saying something over and over to the point where it's rote. Like you say it and it's a habit. And so when there's a negative thought, there's a philosophy saying, "Oh, cancel, cancel that negative thought." And then put in a positive one. Put in an alternative, a better alternative. Let's put it that way. Because sometimes it's hard to, positive, negative. We don't want to do the huge polarities all the time. But to put in a better alternative. Same thing with our behaviors, our habits. "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I ate that ice cream last night." Beat up, beat up, beat up, get the bad out. So, all right, looking at what drove you to do it. What was happening? If that's something you don't want to do and you did it against your will, what was happening just before you picked it up? What was the mindset? What were you thinking? What were you feeling? That's the biggie. And to kind of look at, okay, so when those feelings come up again, at some point catch it, maybe before the ice cream gets into your mouth, and back it up and go, all right, what am I feeling right now? Is there a positive? No. Is there an alternative thought or behavior in this moment? What else could I do? Maybe journal, maybe go for a walk. And I'm not really speaking specifically about food, but we'll use that because I get that a lot about the late night snacking or eating food that you'd prefer not to because we're altering our dietary styles for anti-inflammation. So these are a few things you can kind of check into. But number one, catch what you're doing. Number two, come up with a better alternative to what you're doing, and then implement it as often as possible. Catch yourself and implement it. So these are some things to try. Good luck with that, and I'll see you again. Be well.